Hi, hello IAS aspirants. Welcome to IAS Factor with me Arjun R. Shankar. Today we are going for the second day for the daily mains challenge. So this is the strategy session. First, I'll tell you the topic of the day and what are the different dimensions that you have to prepare for the topic, and then I'll give you the question. So do follow us IAS Factor English in our Telegram channel IAS Factor India. You can scan it. And today's topic is every now and then we have been hearing about the concept of FTA. And this is a recent one from the Press Information Bureau PIB, which says we are going to have a EAEU or the Eurasian Economic Union Free Trade Agreement. So, first of all, you need to be very clear about this is the current affair topic. What is this EAEU, which can be useful for the prelims too? But whenever there is a question like this, we need to go into depth and know what is the concept of a free trade agreement in general, because it can be a mains question. You need to know, you need to weigh the benefits of what is a free trade agreement. India has signed an FTA. What is the economic impact of that? How is the country benefit? Let's discuss the different aspects. So there are so many news which are making headlines. India Eurasia to meet every quarter to fast track FTA. And take a look at the other one, India Russia trade ties, the new EAU FTA roadmap in Moscow. And also there is something related to India Canada FTA. There is all possibilities are on the table. And also FTA push, negotiations going on with European Union, United States of America, Oman, New Zealand, and more ongoing. So this clearly shows that FTA is very, very important and can be very, very useful for the examination. And coming back to the strategy map. First of all, you need to be very clear about what is an FTA. It's a pact between two countries when both the countries decide to go away or do away with tariff barriers. It can be customs duties or non-tariff, etc. The basic idea is to promote free trade, market access, etc. So this is why FTAs are in place between two countries. And now your research thing, you'll have exactly 20 minutes to research all this thing. And here we go. You need to know what is India's major FTAs. There are different type of FTAs. So presently, you need to do a research in which you need to know which countries are having FTAs within India. That is a very important thing. And when you do so, you will also come across something very important concepts like, apart from FTA, you will see this word called SEPA and CESA. So what is the CEPA and CECA? With Malaysia we have CESA, with Japan we had SEPA. So that brings us, apart from India's major FTAs, you need to know what is the difference between CESA and SEPA. This can also be another question. And take a look at this. CESA means Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. SEPA means Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. So one is cooperation agreement and next is partnership agreement. That is a difference between both of this. Find it out. And also on top of this, there is something called different type of FTAs. We have what is a PTA. We have a preferential trade agreement. So you need to be very clear about what is a PTA. And have you heard this word? I'm sure many of you must not have heard about this. There is a concept called EHS, which is Early Harvest Scheme. So why do we have an early harvest scheme? Know about this. So the idea is, if you know all these points, your mains answers are going to be really, really top notch. So, and moving on, what is the concept of SAFTA and APTA? We have this SAFTA, we have this APTA. Are they the same? Is the market, is the economics behind this the same? We need to find it out. And we said we identify the countries in which India is having a FTA in current, and also India is negotiating FTAs. There are so many negotiations India is conducting. Which countries are in the list where India is actually negotiating under the free trade agreement is also another important thing. And obviously, from an economic perspective, you should be really knowing what are the features of an FTA. If India signs an FTA with another country called X, what is that country how is that country benefiting and how is India benefiting is another important aspect. And look at the strategic geopolitical significance of an FTA. Like, how is China's countering Indo-Pacific? How is the securing energy, critical minerals all important in this? So know about the geopolitical influence. What is the economic impact on India's export? Is it a problem for the textile, pharmaceutical? Is it boosting it? What is the competitiveness issue? There are so many issues regarding the India's export and also on India's domestic industry. Do you think that the Indian MSME industries are vulnerable to this? How about sector wise, who is winning, who is losing, the productivity upgrade? So know about the India's domestic industry and what are the different type of investment provisions that comes under the free trade agreement is also a very important concept to be known. And obviously we are planning to remove a lot of barriers. So in this context, what is an NTB or what are the type of non-tariff barriers? And recently, we have discussed about SEPA, CESA. What is the concept of RCEP? Because it was an important pact between so many countries. India participated in the negotiations, but finally India has left it. Why do you think India withdrew from the RCEP? Please find it out. And what is India's future strategy? When we talk about all this free trade agreement, everything in this world comes at a time when India that is to be in aligned and that is to be together seen as India's trade vision for 2030. In the next 4 years, 5 years, what is India's trade vision and how is this FTA an important factor? So these are all the important areas that I want you to work. 20 minutes, quickly go through that. Make sure you have to write. So go through all this and I'll tell you today's important question. Day 2, the important question is, here we go, 10 marks, 150 words. The free trade agreement represent India's shift from a protectionist to a globally integrated trade strategy. Explain the concept of FTAs and critically analyze how India's major FTAs have shaped its trade competitiveness. So you need to write for 2 pages. You have the question. So remember what you have to write. First of all, you need to prove that apart from a protectionist policy, everything from a protectionist policy, India is going for a global integration. How is FTA representing this idea? Apart from a protectionist, you go to a globally integrated system, and how is FTA explaining this? And you need to, second portion, you need to explain the concept of FTA and also analyze the major FTAs India has and how are they shaping India's trade competitiveness. So you need to write from a protectionist to you need to first explain what is FTA, and then you can explain how FTA is playing a big part from being a protectionist to a globally integrated trade system. How is FTA affecting that? And in short, explain some of the most important FTAs that India has and how they are shaping the trade competitiveness. So this is what you have to write, and I hope you'll do the research and start writing. So best of luck, 10 marks, and let me see how many of you can write it. So that is how we go, and thank you so much, and do subscribe to our channel IAS Factor English for the daily mains answer writing content. Thank you so much and see you tomorrow.